Hey player, thanks for tuning in. We got another Kasva v Leenock Conqueror rank cast. So Kasva on French again, Leenock on Abbasid. So this is another shorty, a shouty. So got Kasva already going for the hunt. Got a nice, convenient, safe hunt on Altai. Quite a nice map. It can go long with players really able to make use of these outer resources and sort of wall up their side. But it can also be an ugly short battle. I don't know about you guys, I think the short games are the beautiful ones. An ugly game is when it goes to 50 minutes and half of it is just them remaxing. Anyway, more to the point, we have such a nice map layout here. A lot of gold for our players to fight over this rear side. A couple of border fight over this south side. So, already on the gold, wood and food gathering here for the French player. The Abbasid player, just on the gold and the food at the moment, looking to link all his buildings up together as best he can, so he can make use of that House of Wisdom bonus. French player also getting wheelbarrow, trying to get these deer down in reasonable time, because if you take too long fucking around shooting at them, you sort of undo the benefit of them being slightly quicker than your berries. And on this map, you know, you've only got this one safe berries, and then after that, it's a bit of a fuck around trying to get some more. This one here, I suppose, and this one here, I suppose, for our players, but that's like terrible, man. That's like harassable with knights or horsemen, man. Fuck that shit, man. So, both our players, I think, have gone for 2 scouts, because, I mean, it's quite a large map. Quite a few sheep up for grabs. And French, in particular, you want to gather a lot of sheep early on. Abbasid, they're just a nice fallback, because you're going to start on your berries anyway. You gather 30% more, and there's a bonus 100, so add that together, you basically get double the berries, I believe. Isn't that how it works? They've got like 30% conservation as such. Or drop-off bonus. And you got to make sure you actually mill the berry bushes, or you miss out on that bonus 100. Because when you do mill them, you get the little fences to help guard them from all the pesky little vermin that are stealing your food. In Leenock's case, he's also got another pesky little vermin to deal with on the map, and that is the Scouts of Kasva. But, I mean, he'll just be going up to the eco wing and looking to probably take a quick Age 2 and second town center, while Kasva, his Age 2, the School of Cav, is going to be able to harass and chop and slice and dice at his opponent and try and get some kills, try not to lose too many knights, and then mount up for a big push and really make his opponent feel it. A few sheep there in reserve. We've got a scout battle going on now. Just to see if anyone draws blood here. But no, we're all running away like bitches at the moment. This house is going to link up this mill, so we're going to get some nice... oh no, he's not going to have enough structures in total. But that should take him up to 7, I think. 6. Might be 7 with the barracks. The barracks is fairly standard response to the fact that the School of Cav here for the French player. Kasva committing to a really early tower here. He hasn't actually got any knights on the field yet, but he's looking at already bringing the vills over. I mean, I suppose It's not the smallest of rush distances, or the safest. It might be a little easier to get across the map on some of the maps with a few more stealth forests, and on top of that, maps like Dry Arabia, because there's just less resources, and I mean less of these wood clumps around. Saying that might work in your favour, sneaking around. But Leenock's actually managed to scout the outpost going up, and I think he's even just going to go straight for the vills rather than the outpost itself, which I think is probably the way to go here, because he's brought a lot of his own vills. A lot of his gathering time will be lost, but he should be able to pick off a vill or two here. So we get one. He should get... Ooh, not quite getting a second there, and he will lose one of his own on the retreat here. So Kasva... Ooh, actually not quite. Kasva a little unlucky to not get a vill there. And he's having to commit to a second tower. He's already got arrow slits ready, so he's already on the stone gathering. Look at this, it's pretty nice and close there. And now he's getting horsemen rather than knights, because he's spending the gold on arrow slits and gathering stone alongside gold. And that's a lot of villages to commit, Leenock, but he might get that tower quite quickly, actually. He will do. So Leenock's trying to focus this down as fast as possible for it is really able to pick off too many vills. And he will get it. Is he going to focus the next one? I think he'll look at just taking a vill v vill fight, and he'll get a couple of those off Kasva right now. And now he's got enough here to clean up Kasva's army, I think. So that tower, even with arrow slits, it'll kill a couple of villages, but bearing in mind there's a couple of vills inside to be picked off. And Kasva gonna have to look at setting up for another tower, and this time with less vills, because he's not going to want to bring these guys home. So where does he go for it? And how does he hide them from this horseman? He's actually going to try and wall himself in. It's going to work too. Kasva, you genius. But Leenock is actually, you know, sort of ahead with this commitment, because that's a bit of wood to spend on this, even though... Oh, and one of the vills does get picked off through the wall, so not great for Kasva. But in the meanwhile, he does have his own horseman in here to prod at Leenock. So both of our players have access to two types of units, and the French player are going to be looking to add some archers to support his cavalry here. Now there's a few spears for Leenock. Well, this palisade wall, how far away is that from dying? 2 or 3 more blows? Leenock's trying to chop through. He doesn't have forestry though, so it's going to take him a little while. In the meanwhile, he's had a dig at one of these spears of Leenock's, but Horseman v Spear doesn't trade quite as nicely as Knight v Spear does. Oh, and Leenock managing to chop through and pick off the villager. So Kasva's committed to a lot of walls for that, and still unable to save the villa in the end. So cheeky stuff there from Leenock, going to chop that down. Another spear being picked off. Kasva now, it's got knights on the field. A little slow considering he had to commit to that tower there early. So I wonder if he's going to look at getting chivalry. He's only got the one knight out though, so he probably needs to commit to another knight or two to really justify getting chivalry, considering it takes so long to train compared to the knight itself. So Leenock, I think, is now a little confident having won that exchange there. But he can't stick around too long because Kasva's got a good bow count, so he needs to be able to try and get his horseman onto the bows without the knight getting onto the horseman, while the spearmen aren't able to engage the knight. So Leenock having to draw back now, bring everything back, and Kasva streaming more across the field. He's got a second knight and another archer on the way here, but Kasva getting a hit on that knight. Spearman falling though, and Kasva can probably look at going for Chivalry now that he's got a couple of knights out in the field. Like I said, you get to about 3 or 4 knights and then Chivalry starts to become worth it. Just that before that it's probably not so, and it's more of a so-so upgrade. But this walling, Leenock's using the walls to his advantage actually. He's destroyed that second layer just so his opponent can't do anything too cheesy. And is walling up this segment. So Kasva, the initial harass, repelled, and now he's even going to get a barracks himself. Double range, and the stables landmark there, School of Cav. And now Kasva having a poke at Leenock, and I think he got a single villager there. So that's nice for him, but is he overcommitting? Because this is a lot of Cav from Leenock, and he's going to be able to clean up all the bows. And then Horsemen, while they don't fight the Knights great, alone, with a handful of spears mixed amongst them, will be able to take a great fight against that. So Kasva mostly repelled now, and he's got to look at trying to back out, I think. Now, there's only the single Spearman. Ooh, but it's going to survive. Oh, and there's the second Spearman. The Knight's going to focus down the spear though. So Leenock having to back off once again. Kasva's really made it work with these low Knights. Dropped one over here though, so that was a big blow to him, because bearing in mind they're worth twice as much as a Horseman, 3 times as much as a Spearman or an Archer at the moment. Horsemen are worth twice as much as a Spear or an Archer. But the addition of the Camel Archer is nice, because when this gets in range of the Knights, gets attacks off, it will reduce their damage by, I think it's 20%. And it's a scary number of Horsemen. They should actually be able to take a reasonable fight against these spears. And they will do. So a couple of units there of Kasva's getting picked off, while he's looking at trying to have a bit of Cav harass. He's sending one Knight in over here to harass, while these guys take the long way round to come in through the back door. But while this is going on, Leenock picking off the infantry, so that's great for him, and he's even going to encircle the Knight here. And so this is a great catch for Leenock. Reminds me of Zerglings, eh? Picking off a single Protoss or Terran unit. Such a Leenock thing. Such a Zerg thing. But yeah, that's a big loss for the French player, because that's 240 resources. Like I said, it's 2 to 3 times as much as the value as any of the other units on the field at the moment. Even Leenock's hunt here, under a bit of threat by Kasva, but he's quick on the garrison here. So, the village actually makes it inside of the TC. Unbelievable. None of the Knights are going to be under too much threat, but Kasva's going to look at coming back while Leenock's trying to wall up. So Leenock's going to blow a couple of villages here, 3 of them going down. That's a nice catch for Kasva, and he's forced the wall up as well. He might even stick around until he confirms Leenock's bringing the spears. I think he might have got a whiff of them there, so he's out. But in saying that, Leenock is now bringing all his cavalry to the top, and even though it's going to be Horseman versus Knight, there's 11 of them, and with Camel Archer into support, they do reduce the damage of the Knights. The rest of Kasva's forces just building up at home at the moment. So this has all been walled off by Leenock, and on top of that he has brought the spears. He's really committing to this. He knows he can potentially catch Kasva here. Because where's Kasva going to go? He'll try and micro up around there, but he can't fit up there. So Kasva are going to throw away the Knights. Yeah, they are going to lose quite a lot of damage. 20% thanks to the Camel Archers, as well as take that damage from afar. Now the spear's being added into the fight. The knights go down super quickly. So Kasva, heavy losses for minimal losses for Leenock there. But at the moment, Kasva has the opportunity to try and push and take the map, I think, because Leenock now has to bring everything home. Kasva has a good army force here ready to go, so even though he's a bit light on knights, he does have plenty of spears to fight the horsemen, and they cut through them even faster than they do knights. On top of that, there's a lot of bows, and Kasva going to force Leenock to get 15 vills out of here. A couple of them are going to fall fairly easily there for Kasva. Get off some more, and he is. Ooh, he's thinking about taking out the outpost, but at the same time, he wants to see if he can get some more value out of the bows, but he's brought them a little bit too far forward, I think. So he has to get the military into the fight now. But fighting under this outpost now has been a bit of a risky gambit, so that's a lot of horsemen now on his bows. And the camel archers focusing them down now as well. The